In this year's Champions League, Austrian clubs are making history. Sturm Graz and Red Bull Salzburg both qualified to European football's elite. This is the first time two clubs from Austria play in the Champions League. Just ignore their form in the league phase so far. This got me wondering, how would the Austrian clubs deal with a stronger opposition if they played it on a daily basis? That's why I moved 6 of the best clubs from Austria to Germany. 3 of them, Sturm Graz, Red Bull Salzburg and Lask Linz, will play in the Bundesliga, and the other 3, Rapid Wien, TSV Hartberg and Austria Wien, will start from the second division. They will replace Bochum, Köln and Darmstadt in the first tier, and Wiesbaden, Rostock and Osnabrück in the second tier. We'll then simulate 10 years into the future and see where the Austrian football level really is. What are your predictions for this experiment? Do you see one or more teams in European football? Let me know in the comments down below. As after the first half of Season 1, unless you're Red Bull Salzburg or TSV Hartberg in the second tier, things are not looking good. Both Vienna clubs are way out of form and in a very active relegation scrap in the second Bundesliga. Same as Sturm Graz and Lask Linz in the top tier, but these two are way off the rest of the league, aside from Frankfurt chilling in last place. The biggest plot twist of it all though, the Austrian clubs are playing in European competitions, representing Germany and getting coefficient points for this nation. This applies only for the first season though. I started the save from the 2023-24 season. This is why there is a group stage. Red Bull Salzburg qualified to Europa League knockouts with Lask Linz, but the latter did it via the Europa League group stage. Sturm Graz qualified for Conference League knockouts, and both Wien teams did not even qualify to a group stage, losing to Slavia Prague and Servette. Coming to the end of the season, RB Salzburg lost the fire, finishing 12th. Sturm Graz unfortunately got relegated, but Lask Linz saved themselves in a playoff. Hartberg also slipped down the standings in the second Bundesliga, finishing 8th. Both clubs from Wien avoided the drop. Austria had to do it in the playoff against Ulm. Meanwhile in Austria itself, the formerly German teams seem to dominate the league, with Köln coming up on top. In Europe, Sturm Graz lost to Astana of all teams in the Conference League knockout playoffs, and in the Europa League, Lask Linz got knocked out by Real Sociedad in the knockout playoff, while Rangers eliminated RB Salzburg in the round of 16. This year was a consolidation year for Austrian clubs. They now know the grounds they play on, and they can use that to progress in the second year. Also, there will be no updates to the DFB Pokal. For some reason I can't get it right in the editor. Wait, it works now. Turns out we just need to wait a single season to apply the changes. And in the second year, RB Salzburg stayed 12. Speaking of number 12, only 12% of you are subscribed to the channel. My question is, can you make this number larger? Thanks. Other than that, what Lask avoided last season came to Lask this season. The team from Linz drops down after finishing 17th. In the second Bundesliga, we have big news though. Austria Wien safely stayed up, Sturm Graz was in the promotion race, but it's Rapid Wien who will play in the Bundesliga next season. That is some brilliant news really. In Europe, newly Austrian FC Köln made it to the Champions League knockout playoff. Hansa Rostock missed out on Europa League knockouts by a point, and Bochum finished their Conference League journey in the round of 16. We'll look at the results of these teams after Season 10 in detail. In Season 3, Red Bull Salzburg started making progress, finishing 8th in the league. Rapid also did well, just staying up on 14th. There will be no promotions though, as Sturm Graz missed out on a promotion spot by just 1 point. Lask Linz finished on decent 7th, and Austria Wien had to save themselves in a playoff again, which they did. The Violets also did well in the cup, reaching the quarterfinals. But in Season 4, history happened. Red Bull Salzburg is the first Austrian-German team to make it to the Rapid Wien managed to stay up for another year, 5 points ahead of relegated Union Berlin, who will be replaced by Sturm Graz, who won against the Berliners in the playoff. Lask Linz was also close from promotion. Austria Wien was just fine in the mid-table. Even the cup was going great for our protagonists. Rapid Wien went all the way to the semi-final, where they lost to Red Bull Salzburg. We were close from getting our first trophy of the episode, but Bayer Leverkusen was just a tiny bit better and clinched the DFB Pokal. None of our 6 teams played in Europe, but I just cannot skip the fact that Bochum, a new German-Austrian team, reached the Conference League final, only losing to Lazio on extra time. RB Salzburg continues to play at the top of the German game, finishing 4th and qualifying to the Champions League yet again. Sturm Graz and Rapid Wien keep doing well for their standards too, as both of these teams finished 11th and 12th respectively. Rapid also reached the DFB Pokal quarter-final. I also happened to completely forget about TSV Hartberg. That is because they got relegated in Season 2, but at least instantly came back next year. They stayed up for the second year in a row, ahead of Las Klins, but all of the three teams are in danger of playing in the third tier after the next season. Austria Wien was only 12. But our main interest this season is RB Salzburg in the Champions League. And they got eliminated in the league stage. Brilliant. Just brilliant. They still won against Bayern though, but lost to FC Köln from Austria. At least Salzburg made it to the knockout playoff next season, but as soon as they joined it, Milan said no. And there won't be a chance for RB to play in the UCL again, as they barely finished 7th. Still better than Rapid Wien, who made it to the cup semi-final, and Sturm Graz, who barely stayed up, and the latter needed a playoff against Mainz to do it. What Sturm avoided, Hartberg couldn't. TSV finished rock bottom in the second Bundesliga. At least Las Klins was kinda in the promotion race, and Austria Wien spent yet another year in the happy mid-table. Season 7 brought Sturm and Rapid up, and Salzburg down. Thankfully, it's not relegation, they just all finished next to each other. And while Austria Wien is in the mid-table for 726th year in a row, Las Klins went from fighting for a promotion to dropping to a third tier in a single year. And they won't even have an Austrian friend there, as TSV Hartberg won the playoff against Eintracht Braunschweig. Hartberg looked around the second league, said I'ma head out, and relegated themselves with a disaster of a record. But this wouldn't be the only relegation. Rapid Wien also found a way to go down from the first tier, albeit at least via a playoff against Holstein Kiel. More bad fortune happened in the Dritte Liga. Lask lost a chance for a promotion by a single point. But for bad news, there's also good news. Although the gap was 20 points, two of our teams finished next to each other on 5th and 6th, which gives a chance to play in the Europa League for both RB Salzburg and Sturm Graz, who also reached the DFB Pokal semi-final. And of course, in the second Bundesliga, Austria Wien was 11th. And while RB Salzburg took a huge dip in form for season 9, Sturm Graz only scored 3 points less than last year, which resulted in a fall to 7th and 9th respectively. Rapid Wien found themselves kind of well in the second Bundesliga, finishing 6th in their first season post-relegation. That's better than Austria Wien, who are now 14th. And definitely better than Las Klins, who had a major chance to go back up, just to waste it in a playoff. Hartberg was happy finishing 7th. But wait. There's also a Europa League adventure, in which both Red Bull Salzburg and Sturm Graz progressed. Sturm directly into the round of 16. And turns out, Red Bull did not only get past PSV Eindhoven, but also Villarreal, while Sturm Graz went ahead of Valencia. We had a chance for a direct encounter in the semi-finals, but Red Bull Salzburg didn't manage to get past Atalanta, and Sturm Graz got eliminated by Sporting Club de Portugal. In our last season of this experiment, Red Bull Salzburg returned to Europa League football. I mean, they qualified to it by finishing 6th in the league. Sturm Graz stayed up, 6 points ahead of the drop. Rapid Wien had a chance of finishing this episode as a Bundesliga team, but their comeback in the playoff against Union Berlin wasn't enough. Austria Wien did their casual better mid-table, and in the third league, TSV Hartberg finished ahead of Las Klins. With all 10 seasons covered, let's now move back to Austria and see how our 6 teams that moved the other way around dealt with a new reality. And they adapted very well. Apart from Osnabrück, who got relegated in the final season. The Austrian league is now a back and forth between FC Köln and VfL Bochum, with the Billy Goats winning 7 of the 10 championships. Most of the clubs didn't bring a shame to Germany, Austria in Europe as well. The best was Bochum reaching the Conference League final, improved by a Europa League quarter-final. But Köln also did well, reaching Champions League knockout playoffs on 3 occasions. There were also a couple of knockout stages in the Europa League or the Conference League. For example, Darmstadt found themselves in the round of 16 of the Conference League on 3 occasions. The results of the new Austrian teams helped drag Austria to 10th in the UEFA coefficients, which is quite a decent result. So, what is the takeaway from this video? How would the Austrian clubs perform in the German league? Red Bull Salzburg proved their dominance in the land of Mozart, and they would be a dominant team from Austria in the German league too. They would usually finish mid-table, fighting for a European qualification or even Champions League football from time to time. They would most likely be joined by Sturm Graz, who would rather be a part of the lower half of the top tier. Rapid Wien would spend most of the time either trying to avoid relegation from the Bundesliga or trying to get promoted there. Austria Wien would be an eternal part of the second Bundesliga's mid-table. And although I think Las Klins could be more like Rapid Wien, they went on a free fall all the way to the third tier in the safe. And TSV Hartberg is a yo-yo club between the second and third German league. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed this type of an experiment. If you did, you can hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, especially if you want to see more Football Manager content here. I already made some experiments on this channel. One of them is restarting the career of a Ukrainian coaching legend Valery Łobanowski. The video about him just appeared on your screen and you can watch it right now.